What I have to say, I will keep brief, but we must, as a people, evaluate who you call a friend. No two ways about it. With the issues of the current events that have gone on, watch who you call a friend. Keep your head on a swivel and know how to stay out of trouble are three things that anyone must do to survive. In light of, well, can't even say in light, but if there is something that is to be taught, especially to young people about Nolan Wells' situation, it is to know who you call a friend. I'm only 22 years old, but there is one thing that I have been taught early in my life. Around the same time, about around the same age that Nolan Wells truly would be, and it is, who do I call a friend? I have gone to I went to a primarily white school for all of my life, actually. And I had to learn early that I am not you that so as a black person, you are not looked at the same way that these other white students are. Yes, I have mostly white friends, and some of them I can say I do trust. I trust with important information. I trust to keep not only themselves safe, but if I'm around them, to keep me safe as well. And that's good, but it's not everybody. And I'm going to use for an example on why you have to know who you call a friend is because I got burned. I got burned twice. I had known for the first example, I knew this guy. I had known him since the third grade, and we began to become friends later and later in our lives. And, you know, here comes around ninth grade. We had known each other for so long, we had been friends. When we all hung out in the same groups, even though that group only had two black folks in it, including me, out of a group of maybe 15 people, we hung out in the same groups. And I'll never forget being in Spanish class in ninth grade, second period, when he told me around 9 a.m. that he liked me as a person, but he hated me because I was black. And when I asked him, when did this just come up? When I asked him why, he said it always had been. Now I know that wasn't true, because if that was true, you never would have talked to me for roughly 6 years of our lives. And I knew where it came from. That's what happens when people want to look good for someone in their lives that they respect. But you didn't respect me enough to not be racist. And then after that, I'd gotten over it maybe 3 years, even though it still hurts sometimes. It hurts to think about. It happened. But 3 years after this happens, it happens again. This one was a slow burn. Someone I thought I could call a friend, but their closeted racism is what got in the way. We had had beef before. We had beef in the past. And when COVID hit, Our group got separated, our massive group. And when this person starts becoming less and less closeted about their racism, and they didn't respect me enough to not say slurs while I'm around them, while I'm not near them, I had to learn from someone else. One of the people I do call a friend told me later that that's what had been going on. And they did not respect not only me, but they didn't respect the other white people in this friend group because they expected them to be just like them when it's not. And yeah, there were some red flags. There were a lot of red flags. But I know that, yes, racism and hate is taught, but it does not have to be utilized. But it was. And I cut that off quick. I had to learn. I know who I call a friend now. One thing I will say, another thing, a real friend will make sure you're safe and they will respect you, and they will not step out of that. If they do, you reconcile that, they will apologize. A real friend will do that. A fake friend will not. But on to my second point, you got to stay aware. You got to keep your head on a swivel. You got to know what's going on around you at all times. You have to know to keep yourself safe and possibly your friend group. You got to know what's going on. You cannot keep your head down on your phone. You can't keep your ears plugged. So you can't hear what's going on. You have to stay aware. If you want to stay safe, you got to stay aware. You got to know what's going on. You got to hear what people are saying around you, whether you like it or not. You have to gauge the room. Look around, feel the room. Maybe that's something I'm just good at. Maybe I can just feel a room. I don't know. But you got to know what's going on. And one thing that I will say is extremely important. If you go as a group, you leave as a group. You do not go somewhere and abandon them. A real friend won't abandon you. Even if y'all are mad at each other, a real friend, even if they are mad, if you go as a group, you'll leave as a group. And if they do leave you, y'all were never friends to begin with. But my last thing I will say is do not be the only cat in a room full of dogs. Yes, if you most likely you'll understand what I'm saying. But what I am saying to you is know who you are around. Again, like I said, with being aware, but know your audience. Do not be the only one in somewhere. Don't be the elephant in the room. Don't be one Cocoa Puff in a bowl full of milk. Don't do that. And I'm not just saying, oh, black people, don't be in a room full of white people, but know your audience. You got to know. Hey, this is future me. I just wanted to say that I recorded this with no notes straight off the brain because I was frustrated. So if things sound like kind of weird, it's just that's the reason why. So, yeah, hope you enjoy. You have to respect yourself, and then you can respect others. Don't go as a group, do go as a group. Respect yourself, know what's going on, stay aware, know who your friends are, evaluate them. You have to, especially in this day and age. You have to. Rest in peace, Nolan Wells. And if anybody recognized that story, you know who you were.